celebrity florist to Neo, Virgil Abloh, Little Yachty, and more. His work has been found on the pages of Southern Living, Modern Luxury, Flower Magazine, Traditional Home, and Macon Magazine. He was a contestant on the season 2 of Full Bloom on HBO. Canaan Marshall. How you doing?
Hey,
Welcome to the
how are you?
welcome to the
I'm
Beautiful
so
People
happy to be
series.
here. Thank you so much. It's
Oh
an
my gosh.
honor.
I'm so excited to chat with you.
Yes.
I read that from your childhood, you always had this sort of knack for things growing and green. Can you like talk about that a little bit? And at what
Yes.
age did you think, like, did you realize, like,
Well, I can kind of walk you through. First of all, thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm so grateful to be here and thank you for doing this. And you look really cute, by the way.
oh, thank you.
So I had to start there because I love a good old hat. So that's really good and good glasses.
Thank
So you look really amazing. So I started off in my hometown, Macon, Georgia. I went to um, two schools and I went to Mercer University, which I graduated from. And I worked at a museum, a local museum. And so I always had a knack for flowers when I was like 3, but it
you.
really expounded upon when I started working at the museum because I saw the local Southern Belles bringing flowers to to our fundraisers and to our luncheons and and I always look at flowers as an accessory for the table. So a girl never lives home without her earrings or her diamonds, and that's what a tablescape should have, flowers always.
So are you self-taught?
I am self-taught, and I had a great understudy under a wonderful woman. Her name is Allison Lucas. She's out of my hometown, Macon, and she took me under her wing, and she really just let me explore being creative, but also give me the tools and method to be able to create something beautiful, but also make it last, but also can make it big and stand. So she really put that into me, and she if you ask her today, she's like, he always had a little something that he can give.
Of course,
She's
of course.
nourished it a little bit.
Yeah.
So we go back and forth. So I call her my flower godmother.
Oh. So, checking out your website and just kind of doing research on this interview and getting to know you a little bit through the internet, and kind of exploring some certain things. I know that you had worked with Virgil Abloh,
Yes,
and he really based his brand around a concept called like life cheat codes, like signature branding,
yes,
vision.
yes.
I felt that it was so interesting to really like look at him. Do you feel that connection with sort of that life cheat codes of branding and signature and the way the
Yes.
brand is?
Yes, yes. I think first of all, being a florist nowadays is totally different. We're not your mom and pop floral shop or your mom and pop. I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, my aunt was a florist," or my grandmother. So it changed, and I think all great things do change and
Yeah,
have expound upon because we got to start somewhere, right? And so I think by first of Virgil on how I had that connection is Elizabeth from Full Bloom season 2, the judge. I flew up and to Chicago and helped assist with doing flowers for his funeral. And I think the thing is, the whole concept of how he branded and
yeah,
bring all and design and elements, now equate fashion and florals the same because the color
yeah,
palettes, Pantone colors,
yeah,
what can be burst. We do a lot of things for a lot of different brands. So, very modern, sleek,
yes,
orchids, hydrangea, so we make everything really sleek, tulips. So we do things, and I think it goes inside with each other. I
mhm,
By having those brands and that different element, it makes the whole package. Got to
yeah,
have the package, right? And so
yeah.
it's different. You got to think about it a little bit different. I know sometimes you see me dancing and having a great time, which I dance all the time, and I love that because it's part of my brand. But also,
Yeah.
It gives me joy. And I call flowers my girls. My
Right.
girls love to hear music. So I mean, it's always playing in the background. So I think flowers need music. I think, and it helps give you good energy to be able to put into your arrangements.
It's interesting because as a designer myself, I
Hmm.
always felt since day one, I always felt that the flowers almost tell you where they want to go. Uh,
Yes.
do you find your girls tell you where they want to go?
Sometimes they say, Canaan, I don't want to go there right now. I'm like, girl, you got to go. You got to be in the room.
That's
And
right. That's
so,
right.
yes. And, and I tell every florist that's starting out, like, not be fit at that time. Take a pause, think about it, and then go back to it. So a lot of people make that mistake and really don't smile upon it and listen and have a feeling with the flowers to be able to create magical things.
Yeah. What inspires you? Is it fashion? Because clearly
I love it.
I mean, your brand is so fashion forward and that's part of it.
I look, Izzy Yaki today, but I'm on Ada. But I love, I tell people you don't have to spend a ton of money on fashion, but buy things that you really like and
Yeah.
you really want. And that's just how flowers should be as well. Like some people love peonies more than orchids. So get the things that you really like, and you should always surround yourself around things that you like and love. Fashion and flowers, I kind of put them hand to hand. I love clothes, but I love flowers as well. And so I just think mix and matching all together. I love to do a high and a low look. And that's what I think flowers is too. I think, I talk about carnations. Carnations give a back stigma because you associate it with a funeral.
Yeah.
Well, you could take a carnation, put your hand in the center of it, and pull it out, and it become look like a ranunculus rose. So
Yeah.
I think two things like that you can play with, and so you got your high and you got your low. So that's what fashion is, and that's what flowers bring to me as well.
What do you think is your or was or is your biggest hurdle in your career?
I went to school for business and communications, but I think, when you go to school, they don't really tell you that you have to have an LLC. You have to have things put in
Mhm.
place for your business. So I tell everybody when she first started your business, started out, I didn't have capital to start my company. I stepped out on a limb and I just saved and got it to a certain point, and I never said no.
Yeah.
I always said yes. I was willing to make a sacrifice to do what I love, to do the flowers, to go to places. I'm like, oh, got to work again this weekend, but it'll pay off. Just keep going. It
Ni-
will.
Nice. What are some ways that you could maybe encourage diversity in our
Mm,
industry?
diversity, as in, I think diversity in color, creed, sex. I think all of that. I think I don't look at flowers. Don't have a gender.
Yeah.
They just have colors. And so I think we're so multicolored in our world and where we're at. And I think that's what flowers represent for everybody. We all here together. I think we should. And we mix and mingle. So when I make a massive arrangement, I'm mixing colors, I'm
Mhm.
mixing different types of flowers. And I think that's what design in the industry has. We have women, guys, girls, everybody is welcome to do florals
Yeah.
and have fun with it. Just have fun
Mhm.
with it. That's what you
Yeah.
should do. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any exciting projects coming up?
Well, now this is a little
Tell me,
birdie.
tell me.
Don't tell nobody. Shh. I'm going to Paris. We for
Oh,
Fashion Week, but I can't say the brand. But we're going over there to play a little bit. How
oh.
you doing? Mhm.
So, can you tell us a little bit about maybe some concepts that you're throwing around with that? You don't have to go into major detail
Um,
or anything like
they
that.
they do more of an industrial look, and so we're designing. So I have a team over there that's helping me, but they're coming up with my concept and design, and we're flying over to make sure we execute it right. And so I think by working like with Maurice Harris, and just
Yeah,
kind of understudy under these different people that's giants in this industry,
yeah,
and just kind of taking little things. Because let's face it, I'm from Georgia. We have abundance, hydrangeas and different things. But when you go to
yeah,
New York or California or Arizona is different types of flowers. So
Sure.
be able to use things that's locally, but also help people. I mean, I have great teams when I land to really help execute what we need to do.
That's amazing. Speaking of
It is.
Maurice, do you have any mentors or anyone that you look up to?
Oh, I love Maurice. We talk a lot. I love Maurice Harris. I love Elizabeth. I don't really talk to Simon as much because he's in London, but off the show, I became really good friends with Luffy.
Yeah.
He won season 2. Also, I'm great friends with Antonio from Texas. Uh, Actually, Rachel and I became cool, really cool, and Sada from Maryland, like she's the second place up, and we all became really cool, and we actually do keep in touch. From season 1, I see Ace because we do the
Right.
orchid dinner.
Yeah.
Also, I see trying to think who else. Kristen, I see her as well. So,
Mhm.
it's good to see fellow floral designers that you really, admire. You admire their work and they bring something different to the game. And I love it. It's all about learning and educating with me. So I just love everybody and we just make it happen.
Yeah. Any scandalous moments behind the scenes
What we
that
want to talk about?
whatever you want to talk, whatever you want to tell, you don't have to mention names.
No, I think sometimes people always ask me, how do this look when they do an arrangement or something? And I go, that looks nice. And they're like, well, you really didn't critique it. I like, that is your own interpretation of what you want your arrangement to look like. If you want it to look like that, I agree with you.
Right,
Now,
right.
I have my southern tone. I go, isn't that nice? I
Oh,
never use bless my heart, but isn't that nice? Isn't that
mhm.
interesting? So I think, by being a floral designer, because you don't want to question about dreams or hopes, I actually say, oh, by the way, you could probably do this to help expand your arrangement. So I do give tips as we go. So, but
Yeah,
I don't live in that space of being negative and having that
yeah,
around me. I just kind of live, enjoy life. Why
yeah.
not? We only live once. So
That's right. Well, you did gentle, uh, critiquing,
just gentle.
just gentle. So,
Very gentle.
what advice can you give any youngins that want to get into the field of floral design? What advice can you give them?
Don't be afraid to follow your dreams. And it gets hard.
Yeah.
I think by becoming a florist, if you don't have capital or you don't come from money and don't have that around you, I think it gets really hard. It gets daunting. You work hours that everybody else is not working. Your friends are partying, you're working. And I think if you really stay strong to your belief and your heart desires, it'll
Yeah.
pay off. It
Yeah.
really will. And somebody asked me if Canaan, would you ever thought you'll be in this position in your life at this time? Actually doing something that you love, you're
Yeah.
your own boss, and you create for wonderful people and you have great people around you. Girl, I would do it all over again the same way because
Yeah.
it's amazing. And so I'm grateful to the man above. It's been good to me. And I'm grateful for all of my friends and family that keeps me grounded. And I
Yeah.
mean, I think you have to have a good network too to keep you grounded.
Yeah. You
Gotta
had,
have that.
yeah. You mentioned earlier about dancing, and there's two things that are on the majority of your Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. It's your big bright smile, and dancing. And I
Yes.
was wondering if you want to have a little dance party. Thank you so much for coming on. I love you and cherish this time, and I really love to get to know you. So thank you so much.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity.